So until now we have discussed about the alimentary canal and the associated glands of digestive system. Okay. So today we will discuss about the digestion of food, how food is digested, and the disease that are associated with digestion, and then the biomolecules. Okay. So let me take out the diagram and then explain. So what happens? Digestion of food, it starts in the mouth, right? So while discussing about the alimentary canal, we discussed that the parts of alimentary canal, it includes mouth, then pharynx, this is the mouth, then pharynx, then esophagus, then stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and anus, right? So the what to say, the process of digestion, it starts in the mouth. Okay, so in the mouth what happens? So inside the mouth, the cavity that is known as the buccal cavity, okay, that is known as the buccal cavity or the oral cavity, okay, that we discussed earlier. So, and inside the mouth there is tongue and teeth, okay, that plays a very important role in digestion. So the process of digestion, it starts in the mouth. So at the beginning what happens, whenever you like take food inside your mouth, the we chew the food, right? Food is chewed and it is mixed with the saliva. Okay, so food is chewed and it is mixed with the saliva. Alright, so when it is mixed with the saliva, it is known as bolus. This one, bolus, this term, BOLUS, this bolus. So when the food is mixed with the saliva and then it is chewed and it is mixed with the saliva, it forms a bolus, and that bolus is swallowed down the throat, like from the pharynx to the esophagus, like that. Okay, so that when the mixture is formed, then it is swallowed. Okay, then it travels down the pharynx and then the esophagus, and then it reaches the stomach. So before that, in the mouth, there is salivary gland. Okay, in associated glands we discuss about salivary gland. So in the mouth there is the salivary gland. So what happens in the salivary gland? The salivary gland, it secretes saliva. All of you know that. So the salivary gland, it secretes saliva, and in the saliva there are two enzymes. One is known as salivary amylase and one is lysozyme. Let me show you the enzymes. One is salivary amylase and one is lysozyme. Okay, these two the enzymes, they are present in the saliva, and the function of these two enzymes are what? The salivary amylase, it converts starch into maltose. Okay, so let me give an example, like when you eat white rice, just nothing with it, just the rice. Okay, when you chew the rice for some time, you get a sweetness, but normally the rice is not sweet, right? You have not added any sugar to it. It is not sweet, it is just plain white rice. But when you chew the rice for some time, you get the sweetness. So where does that sweetness come from? The starch that is present in the rice, there is starch in the rice. Okay, so when the starch in the rice, it mixes up with the saliva, that starch is converted into maltose, okay, form of sugar. So then you get that sweet feeling, sweet taste, not feeling, sweet taste. Okay, so the salivary amylase, function of salivary amylase is that it converts starch into maltose. And then the next enzyme was lysozyme. What is the function of lysozyme? The lysozyme, it acts as an antibacterial agent. Okay, it protects the mouth from infection. Antibacterial agent means it protects our mouth from any bacteria. Okay, like see, the mouth, it is exposed to all sorts of infections, right? Because it is not protected, because our atmosphere, it is full of bacteria and viruses like moving around, right? So our mouth is exposed. Whenever you speak, whenever you open your mouth, it is exposed to all those dirts and viruses and all those pathogens. So this lysozyme that is present in the saliva, it protects our mouth from infection. Okay, so in the mouth what happens? The saliva, the enzymes, that is the salivary amylase and the lysozyme. Salivary amylase, it digests starch into maltose, and lysozyme, it protects our mouth from bacteria. Okay, so that acts as an antibacterial agent. That happens, and then the bolus that is formed, it passes down from the pharynx to the esophagus. Now next part is the pharynx. So in the pharynx what happens? There is a if you have seen your what to say, if you will open your mouth and see in a mirror, you will see a small tongue like structure that is on in your throat region. Okay, small tongue like structure that is known as the epiglottis. Okay, I'll show you spellings. This one, epiglottis. Okay, so the epiglottis, what happens? The bolus, it is swallowed, and then epiglottis will channel the bolus into the esophagus. Okay, it will prevent the food from going into the windpipe. It will come down to the esophagus, and then in the esophagus, this is nothing but the food pipe. The food will travel down like this, and then it will reach the stomach. Okay, and in the stomach what happens? There are gastric juice. Okay, in the stomach there are gastric juice, so the food, it will mix with the gastric juice. Okay, and there are HCl, that is hydrochloric acid. Okay, there is hydrochloric acid and gastric juice, so those will act on the food and it will digest the protein part of the food. Okay, so in the stomach, the protein part of the food, it gets digested, and the gastric juice and the hydrochloric acid, it plays a very important role. So just for your knowledge, I'll tell you, like, what happens. There is an enzyme known as pepsinogen. Okay, there is an enzyme known as pepsinogen. So the HCl or the hydrochloric acid, it activates the pepsinogen, and the pepsinogen, it is converted into pepsin. Okay, that pepsin, it will digest the protein. Okay, so overall it can be said that in the stomach, the protein part of the food, it will get digested, and then it will move to the small intestine, like, right, the duodenum, jejunum and ileum, parts of small intestine. So the food, it will move into the small intestine. And in the small intestine what happens? The fatty part that will get what to say digested. Okay, and in the small intestine what will act? The bile from the gallbladder, bile, and the intestinal juice are there, like the gastric juice in the stomach, there are intestinal juice in the small intestine, large intestine. Okay, so that intestinal juice will work, and the bile will work. So all those and then this is the pancreas. Okay, this is the pancreas, then pancreatic juice will also work. Okay, so in the small intestine what happens? The bile from the gallbladder, bile, then pancreatic juice from the pancreas, and intestinal juice from the intestines, those three will act and they will digest the fat. Okay, fatty part, fat and lipids. Okay, so that sort of digestion will take place, and then the food, it will move into the large intestine. So food will move into the large intestine, and whatever that is left out, whatever the any nutrients, if it is left out, that is digested, that is taken by the large intestine, and then whatever material that reaches the rectum, that is unwanted, that is not required in our body, that is the excreta. Okay, that is stored in the rectum for some period of time, and then it is passed out through the anus. So what happens? Initially you chew the food, you take the food in the mouth, you chew the food is mixed with the saliva, right, and it forms a bolus. Okay, and when the food is mixed with the saliva, in the saliva there are salivary amylase and lysozyme. Okay, salivary amylase, it what to say, it digest starch into maltose. Okay, and lysozyme, it acts as an antibacterial agent. And then what happens, that sort of digestion, it took place in the mouth, and then the bolus, it travels down from the pharynx, esophagus, to the stomach, and in the stomach the protein part of the food, it gets digested. Okay, the gastric juice and HCl, it acts, right? There is an enzyme known as pepsinogen, so that acts, and in the stomach, that protein part of the food, it gets digested. And next is the small intestine. So in the small intestine, the fatty part and the bile, the intestinal juice, the pancreatic juice, all those acts in the small intestine, and the fatty part, it gets digested. Okay, and whatever that remainder, that is digested in the large intestine, and then the excreta which is of no use, that is stored in the rectum. Okay, so it will flow from the mouth, it will flow like this to small stomach, and then it will go into all these stages, and then flow through the large intestine like this, and then whatever that is not required, that is not essential in our body, the excreta, that is stored in the rectum and then pass through the anus. Okay, this is how the process of digestion takes place. Whenever you take something from them, whenever you eat something, that whole process, it is repeated. Okay, so this is about the process of digestion, what happens in digestion. Next are disorders of digestion. So what is meant by disorders? Disorders means disease. Okay, diseases are disorders. So any disease that is related to the digestive system, that will be considered as a disorder of digestive system. Okay, so the in the digestive system, so several disease might occur, like food poisoning occurs, right? So there are sometimes diseases might occur in the digestive system because of indigestion. Whenever you eat the food and it is not digested, then it will result in indigestion. Okay, indigestion, and it will show several symptoms. Okay, vomiting is also a result of indigestion. Okay, so whenever you eat the food and then it is not digested, suppose you're eating some fried foods, some cheesy foods, sometimes that those kind of food that is not digested, that our body cannot is not suitable for that, is not made for that sort of food. So when you eat that kind of food, that is not digested in our body, and then you suffer from indigestion. Okay, indigestion is also a type of disease of the digestive system. Okay, and then sometimes bacterial infection might occur, fungal infections might occur, parasitic infection might occur. Okay, bacterial infections, suppose you're eating food that is not well cooked. Okay, food that is not well cooked. Also, when you're taking eggs without washing it well, and then you put the raw egg on the rice, and then you allowed it to boil, the rice will also boil, along with it the egg will also boil. Most people do that. So what happens then, when you don't clean the shell of the egg well with dishwash soap and stuff, if you just wash it under the water, and then you put that raw egg in the rice, and then allow it to boil, then infections might occur. Okay, there is bacteria like salmonella. Okay, there are bacteria like salmonella. So salmonella, what happens, they are found in the feces of the animals or birds feces. Okay, so salmonella and bacillus, all those, mainly bacillus, it is found in the feces of the animals. Okay, animals and birds. So if you don't wash that egg well, then that shell of the egg, it might carry the bacteria, and then if you eat that rice, because you boil the egg and rice together, if you eat that rice, you'll get the infection. Okay, you'll be infected by the bacteria. So you should be very careful while dealing with this stuff. Okay, and sometimes when you have ate, like generally in the case of pork, okay, pork, when you don't uh, boil, or when you don't cook the pork enough, then there are chances of infection. Not only pork, actually pork, there are chances of infection for like parasitic infection also in the pork, but also other meat like chickens and duck and everything, there are chances of bacterial infections. Okay, so raw food or not well cooked food, also sometimes the food that you have cooked and then you have stored it, then it became cold, okay, and you are not reheating and eating it, you don't reheat the food, then also there are chances of infection. So infection might occur because of various other factors, and also because some diseases might occur because of indigestion. Okay, so these are the 5 diseases, and there are more, okay, but in this chapter we just need to look at this 5. There are more diseases associated with the digestive system. So this 5, first is jaundice. You have heard of jaundice, all of you have heard of jaundice. So jaundice, if you have seen jaundice patients, you will see the jaundice patient, their skin and their eyes, everything, it becomes yellow. Okay, it becomes yellow in color, because what happens, there is the bile, right, bile, which play a very important role in digestion. So in the bile there are pigments known as bilirubin and biliverdin that I discussed earlier. So in the bile there are pigments known as bilirubin and biliverdin. So when the bilirubin pigment and before that, the color of the bile, that is dark greenish, yellowish green color, no, so that color is because of these pigments. Okay, the color of the bile is because of these pigments. So what happens when the bilirubin pigment that is present in the bile, its quantity, it rises. Okay, it needs to be in an optimum quantity, right? So when the quantity of that bilirubin it rises, it results in that yellowish tint in your skin, eyes, everything. Okay, because the color of that bilirubin pigment, it is yellow. For example, the chlorophyll pigment present in the leaves, and that color is green. So same way that bilirubin pigment color is yellow, and when that quantity, the quantity of that bilirubin pigment in the bile, it increases, it results in jaundice. Okay, and then next is vomiting. Vomiting, all of you know, vomiting may result because of some fever. Okay, fever, you're having fever, or viral infections, or sometimes because of indigestion, you took food and which is not suited to your body, your body is not able to digest that food, and also vomiting occurs. So what happens generally when you eat the food, food will travel from the mouth to the stomach, right, to the esophagus. But for vomiting, the food that is in the stomach, it will move the opposite way. It should have moved to the intestines and then to the rectum, right? But for when people suffer from vomiting, the food that will be present in the stomach, that will move the opposite way. Okay, that is, it will move to the esophagus and pharynx, and then it will come out of the mouth. Okay, so that is vomiting. It might occur because of several reasons. And then there is diarrhea caused by generally bacterial infections. Okay, bacterial infection like listeria monocytogenesis is a bacteria. It results in diarrhea. Okay, it results in vomiting and diarrhea. So the in diarrhea, what happens, your feces, it becomes very liquid. Okay, it is not solid, it becomes completely liquid, and you need to go to the bathroom at regular intervals, like many times a day. Okay, so that is diarrhea, and it happens when you are infected, some bacterial infections occur. Okay? Listeria infections and other bacteria also. Okay, then there is constipation. Constipation, it is the completely opposite of diarrhea. Okay, for diarrhea you have to go to the bathroom frequently, right? But for constipation you don't have to go to the bathroom, and that is very dangerous, because you keep on eating and you are not going to the bathroom. It is very dangerous. Means it has means your bowel movements is not regular, it's irregular bowel movements. Okay, so that is constipation. It might some gastritis, no, some people suffering from gastric and gas, those people also, for some constipation occurs. Okay, constipation is harmful if it prolongs. Okay, then there is indigestion. Indigestion we have already spoken of. Whenever you are eating the food and then it is not getting digested, then you suffer from indigestion. And indigestion, when you suffer from indigestion, these are the following symptoms. These are the symptoms. Sometimes stomach ache will be there, then you'll feel nausea, vomiting. Okay, and then heartburn. Heartburn is whenever you get that burning sensation on your chest. Okay, whenever you get that burning sensation on the chest, that is heartburn. And then there is acid regurgitation. What is acid regurgitation? I think you might have experienced it. That is, it is not vomiting, but some fluid. It comes out of the mouth. Sometimes, mostly when you eat those fried food. So that liquid thing, it comes out of the mouth. It is not vomiting, but it comes out of the mouth, and then the taste is very weird and very uncomfortable taste is there, and that thing is known as acid regurgitation. Okay, and then there is accumulation of gas in the abdomen. Accumulation of gas is there, and escape of gas from the stomach. So these are the symptoms of indigestion. So what happens? Sometimes only vomiting might occur. For indigestion, only vomiting might occur, or only pain and nausea might occur, or only heartburn might occur. So only one of the symptoms might occur, or all the symptoms might occur. Okay, for indigestion, whenever you are suffering from indigestion. Okay, so these are the diseases, that is jaundice, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, and indigestion. So just remember the names and what what happens because of this. Like for vomiting, the fluid, it comes out of the stomach, right? And vomiting, as I explained, it may be the result of indigestion, it may be the result of some infection. Okay, so try to remember all those. Next, there is biomolecules. Okay, this is a very small part. After this chapter will be completed, and I'll give you the notes. Okay, after finishing this, and after we finish this, we'll have one more chapter, that is locomotion and movement. We will need like 2 more classes for that chapter, and then our syllabus will be completed. So keep on like studying, okay, from the beginning. And any doubts if you have from any of the chapters from the beginning, you can come up. Okay, and so start studying, because you don't have much time for exams and stuff like that. For sessionals you don't have time, and for finals you don't have so much time. Okay, so biomolecules. Biomolecules, from the name itself, it is quite clear that it is biological molecules. Bio means biology. So these are biological molecules. So biological molecules, they are like means they are very much essential in our body for the biological processes that goes on. Okay, those molecules, they are very much essential for all the processes that goes on inside our body. Okay, for energy, for giving us energy, for growth, for development, for anything, for everything, biological molecules are essential. Okay, so the biomolecules, they are of 2 types. One is micromolecule and one is macromolecule. Okay, micro means small, and macro, it means larger than the micro. It is not that large, okay, but then it is larger than the micro. So micro are the smallest one, and then macromolecule are little bit larger than the micro. For SIM cards, there are nano SIM, micro SIM, macro SIM, right? Macro SIM is a normal SIM, and micro SIM is the little bit smaller one. Then there is nano SIM cards in your phone. So same way, micro and macro. So micromolecule, they are smaller in size. Okay, just remember, you might be asked to write the difference between micro and macro. So for macromolecule, they are smaller in size. Okay, and macromolecule, they are little bit larger in size than the micromolecule. And there is then weight. First is about the size, that is micromolecules are small and these are larger in size than the macromolecule. And next about the weight, the micromolecules, they have low molecular weight, their molecular weight is also less. Okay, and the macromolecule, they have high molecular weight. Okay, then next is, do you know monomer and polymer? What do you mean by monomer and polymer? What is monomer?
Plastic, ma'am.
Monomer means one chain.
Monomer means? Your voice is
One
not
chain or single chain.
single chain. So you can say monomers are the basic units of polymers, right? Basic units means monomers are single units. You can say single units. So let me give you an example for those who don't know. Like let's take the example of a wall. Okay, bricks and wall. So many bricks. If you put many bricks together, like 100 bricks together, they will form a wall, right? So in order to build a wall, there needs to be many bricks, and if you break the wall, you will get bricks, many bricks. So you can compare monomers to be the bricks. Okay, you can compare monomer to be a single brick monomer, and many monomers or many bricks, they will together form a wall, and that wall you can compare it to be the polymer. Is it clear? So monomer are single units and many monomer will together form a polymer. So those monomers are examples of micromolecules and polymers are example of macromolecules. Okay, so you can take like protein. There are proteins in our body, right? So we need protein. So that protein is made up of amino acids. Many amino acids will together form protein. Okay, a number of amino acids, they will form chains and they will form protein. Polymerization will take place between amino acids. Okay, polymerization means what? Like many units of amino acid, they will react among each other and they will form polymerization reaction, and then they will form a protein. Okay, so amino acid is a monomer of protein and protein is a polymer. So many amino acids will together, you can take like bricks, many bricks will together form a wall. So many amino acids will together form protein, and when protein is broken down, you will get amino acids. Okay, so amino acid is a monomer, protein is a polymer. So amino acid is an example of micromolecule and protein is an example of macromolecule. Okay, so all the monomers are example of micromolecule and all the polymers, they are examples of macromolecule. Then there is glucose. Okay, many glucose molecules, they will form glycogen. A number of glucose molecule will form glycogen. Glucose is a monomer of glycogen. So glucose is a micromolecule and glycogen is a macromolecule. Okay, so you can give these differences, you can give, then you can say like many macromolecule, they polymerize to form a macromolecule. Okay, macromolecules polymerize to form a macromolecule, or you can say they are the units of macromolecules. Means units of macromolecules means macromolecules are monomers. Okay, monomers are the units of polymers. Like amino acids are the are monomer of protein. Protein is a polymer, amino acid is a monomer. So amino acid is a macromolecule, small molecule. Protein is the larger one. So protein is a polymer and it is a macromolecule. Okay, so monomers are basically the basic units of polymer, basic units, single units of polymer. Okay, there are a number of monomers, they will only react among each other, they will form reactions and then they will form the polymer. Okay, same for the wall. If you take a normal example like many bricks, they will together form a wall. Single brick cannot form a wall, right? In order to build a wall, there needs to be many bricks. They will form chains and they will form a wall. So same way, for amino acids, they will form like chains of amino acids and then they will form a protein. The amino acid is a monomer of protein. Okay, amino acid is a micromolecule and protein is a macromolecule. Okay, so this is done. If you have any doubts from this chapter, you can ask. And if you have not given your attendance yet, please give it in the chat box. Don't give it multiple times, just once. If you have not given it, give it. Okay, so we will have one more chapter left, that is locomotion and movement, that we will do in the next class. Okay, if you have doubts, you can ask, otherwise you can leave if you have given your attendance.
Ma'am, biomolecules is a different chapter from.
No, digestion and in your syllabus, digestive system and biomolecules is a chapter. Okay, digestive system is this much, biomolecules only this much is enough because it is not a separate chapter. If it was a separate chapter, then we have to discuss about proteins and lipids separately. Okay, but now it is not a separate chapter; it is combined in your syllabus. Just go through your syllabus. In the first
Yes, ma'am.
chapter, yeah, it is digestive system and biomolecules. Not a separate chapter, same one.
Okay, ma'am.
I'll give the PDF today. I'll give the PDF.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.